Hey, somebody's got to find the answer. 42? Ha! Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to the Professional Noticer.
You could say that 10,000 times and it still wouldn't be enough.
It fires me up, man.
I love it. Say it one more time.
This is a place that I use common sense and all the wisdom I can muster to create measurable results for people like you and families like yours. I am the Professional Noticer.
Any more questions?
Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. While our topics, I know, vary wildly at times, it's only because the things you care about most are often greatly affected by the things you care about least. Therefore, we field questions about everything: business, spiritual issues, popular culture, and we also tackle the odd conundrum like if vampires can't see their reflection in a mirror, why is their hair always so neat? My purpose here today and with every show we do is to play the part of a best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life you would live if all your toughest questions were answered. The Professional Noticer is sponsored this week by growingdeer.com. If you already watch Growing Deer episodes or regularly visit the growingdeer.com website, you already know why I am a fan. Their weekly show arrives in my email inbox every Monday morning. I just love the show. Wildlife biologist Dr. Grant Woods hosts every week's program, and the subjects range from scientific tips about nutrition to providing the right crops for deer to reach their antler potential. You know, there might be just a fascinating segment about how predators actually think and why they do what they do, and how you can thwart a predator's intentions, especially when a raccoon is determined to eat every egg in a turkey nest. And what does one do when coyotes are eating every newborn fawn in the area? It sounds kind of gross, but it's happening in a lot of places. And, you know, growingdeer.com might devote a whole episode to prescription fire and the wildlife benefits provided by carefully controlled burn. Dr. Grant's wife, Tracy, as well as her daughters, Raleigh and Ray, make frequent appearances. And, you know, the whole operation, to me, is just a great example about how family can work together and play together and support each other. So whether you're an outdoor person or not, certainly you know an outdoor person, right? So turn them on to growingdeer.com, and you go check it out too. That's growingdeer.com. Okay, observations and answers. It's what we do. I deliver the observations. You provide the questions. Questions are a critical component of that person you and I aspire to become. Questions are the critical component. So remember, the quality of your answers can only be determined by the quality of your questions. So come on, you guys, send us good ones. You can email any question you want to the Professional Noticer at andyandrews.com or call me 1-800-726-ANDY. That's 1-800-726-ANDY. And if we use your question on the show, we'll send you your choice of the Guided Traveler Experience or the 100-Year Parenting. We really appreciate your involvement in the show. We need your questions. We got a great one here today. It's from Linda. She lives in Minnesota. Let's listen.
Linda, Fulda, Minnesota. And my question is, what motivates you every day to look outside of yourself and to see other people and what their needs are and how you can best meet their needs?
Linda, you know, that was a pretty short question compared to some that we get on this podcast, but I don't know if you could have asked a deeper or more important question that you and I can kind of think through here for a minute. I think it just has such a huge value to everyone to think through this. And so you ask, what motivates you every day to look outside yourself and see other people? Well, I'll tell you what motivates me to do that is I know the inner part of me knows that I don't need to think about myself so much. I need to think about other people. I need to have some perspective about my life, perspective about why I was put on this planet. And anytime I do that, I come up with the answer. Well, you weren't put on this planet so that you would be the center of attention in the entire world. You weren't put on this planet to, make everybody think that you're really smart and then act like you're really smart. And you weren't put on this planet, I think, to have everything be about me. Now, part of the reason I was put on this planet, and Linda, I believe part of the reason you were put on this planet is to serve other people. We often talk about becoming the person we can be, becoming the person that we know we should be, becoming the person that potential that kind of it exists. It's above us. We can barely reach it. We want to become the kind of person that actually chases the potential that we are constantly becoming. And I'll tell you, I don't believe, there's a challenge with that, and that is, thinking about what I am supposed to become, there's a challenge with that. But you just have to answer the questions quickly so that you don't get caught up in yourself. This is just kind of what I have found. And so when I say answer the question quickly, in most cases, as I walk around every day or drive around every day or whatever I'm doing every day, in most cases, a lot of the answer of how I'm supposed to, act on this earth, or part of the answer about how I am to become whatever it is I am to become, part of the answer is serving other people, becoming, a help to lift up other people. Now, I'm not saying, now I don't think of this, I'm not saying this in terms of being on stage or being on television. It's like I've got to serve when I'm on stage because I can serve 1,000 people at once. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how I can walk around in the day and touch people's lives with acts of kindness or a surprise conversation, smiling that, and they don't know who I am, but I'm just having a conversation with somebody that kind of brightens their day. And I have to remember that a lot of people don't have a loving family to go home to, and they work in an environment that, I may have just been the first person that smiled at him and laughed with him a little bit and talked nicely and was interested in him. I may be the first person that's done it in 10 years. And so it does motivate me to look outside myself, to find other people and ask questions. We talk all the time about how the quality of your answers can only be determined by the quality of your questions. And so we want to ask good questions. Well, that includes when we're just having offhand conversations with people. Linda, most people walk around and don't have conversations with anybody unless they're telling them something about themselves. And so all these people that are walking around me, all these people at the airport, all these people at the restaurant, all these people everywhere, I'm not ever talking to them. This is what a lot of people say. They're not saying this, but this is what's happening. This is the thought process. They're around people all day, but they're not talking to these people because they don't know these people. And unless somebody happens to talk to them, that might be the opportunity to tell them about your job and how much money you're making and your boat you just bought. And, it may be the opportunity to talk about yourself. But if you don't talk about yourself, you're not talking about nothing. I mean, that's what people kind of do. Because you just don't see, it's maybe it's a regional thing. I don't know. But Kevin Perkins and I were in another state, and we were up there for outdoor stuff, and we had gone into a Walmart in the state, and we were about 2 rows into the store, and Kevin said to me, he said, "Have you noticed these people are not talking to us?" And we said, golly, that's really true. Because Kevin and I were just, going through a story, pass somebody and go, "Hey, how you doing?" And, we passed this, lady with one screaming kid and one little boy in a red jacket. And, you go by and say, "Hey, buddy, that's an awesome looking red jacket. You got a good mother. Your mama probably got you that red jacket. You take care of her. Not everybody has a good mother." So you talk to a kid and see the parents just like grab him and go on. And Kevin pointed that out, but it is in a large part of our country that people just don't talk to each other. I mean, it's obvious we have gotten rid of the front porches. Nobody's ambling along in the neighborhood and then hailed from a porch and just climb the steps, drink a cup of coffee and talk. And also meet this other couple over here. They live down the street. And people just don't do that anymore. They don't have any porches. They don't want to see, but these people may disagree, and they may be stupid, and you just don't want to have anything to do with them. So you're just not even going to have a front porch anymore. And I don't want them coming in my backyard, so I'll put up a fence. And I don't want to look at them, and I don't want them to look at me, so I'll put up big boards around the fence. And so now we've gotten into a place where, Linda, if you and I are going to serve people, we're going to have to do it quickly and in little bits, and we're going to have to change people's hearts and minds by being a friend, by being somebody who is kind. You ask, how can you best meet their needs? Well, you can't go collect food for everybody. You can give money to food banks, but you can't, meet their needs. I mean, you can't buy jackets for everybody who needs one, even if you have a charity that buys jackets. You can't meet them all. But if we could have a few people in this world determined to meet the most pressing need of these people walking around every day, I believe the most pressing need is for somebody to be nice to them. I think people walk around and walk through their lives, and they are, Thoreau said that most men live lives of quiet desperation. I believe that's more true now than it ever was. And I think that you and I can relieve some of that desperation by being fun and smiling and chuckling while we talk and relating to their stories, but not topping them with our own. Dang it, Linda. We talked for a while. We could have just said, be nice. All right, I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing some common sense and a little bit of wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. Hey, here's an observation. And I know you can Google the capital of Czechoslovakia, but where do you seek wisdom? Yeah, I know you've read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica, at least through the letter V, but where do you seek wisdom? Yeah, I know you have 3 degrees from Cornell, but you don't like your job. So where do you seek wisdom? Remember this, Wisdom Harbor harbors wisdom. That's Wisdom Harbor with an H-A-R-B-O-U-R, wisdomharbor.com. There's a free guided tour waiting for you there right now. Hey, let's hear our next question. It's from Maggie. She's in Texas. Let's listen.
Hey, Andy. I've listened to the Professional Noticer since it began, and without fail, every week I share the link to subscribe with all my friends and acquaintances. We all listen with interest and discuss the problems thrown your way, and we also discuss your answers and observations. But now I find myself in a tough spot, and I'm the one who needs your wisdom. Here's a scoop on me. I've been a happy, high-earning single mom for many years. My children are now adults, happy and well-adjusted with families of their own. With a pharmaceutical degree, I've never had to really scramble for a job. Right out of college, I was hired by a hospital to work in their pharmacy. I was there for 12 years and really loved it. Then I accepted a position as head pharmacist at one of the stores run by a well-known chain here. After about 14 years there, I became the head pharmacist for another big chain. Their pharmacies are all located inside major supermarkets. For 6 years, things could not have been better. Okay, about 4 months ago, the pharmacy higher-ups decided to shake up the supervisory level of executives. So these are people who each oversee 7 to 8 pharmacies. And when the dust from the shake-up settled, my team found ourselves with a brand new supervisor. I suppose that because she's a woman, I expected to bond immediately. You know, for more than 30 years, I've always had a great working relationship with every single supervisor I've ever had. But that's not happening now. She criticized my team members every time she's in our store, and her criticisms don't end until she leaves the store. Right before she leaves, every time she moves me into a corner. Not that it matters that, you know, the team is busy filling prescriptions, our boss is tearing me up 5 feet away. They can hear everything. My real problem, Andy, is that I've begun to feel as if I can do nothing right. The person I'm supposed to talk with, to report challenges to be loyal to, seems to be angry and mean-spirited all the time. When she confronts me about my work, I'm always wrong. She says things to me like, "You're under a big microscope with corporate. You'd better watch it. The perception there is that you don't know what you're doing." She starts the attack on our team the minute she arrives and never takes a breath until she has pushed me in a corner and excoriated my pride in what I do. The joy I used to carry into work has been replaced by fear. When she demands answers, I give them to her. The second I do, she tells me she doesn't believe what I said. Again, I am never right. Is there anything I can do? I really need your help on this one. Thanks, Andy.
Maggie, thanks so much for the question. Woo, that sounds, good grief. I hear you on this. I know this is aggravating you in a great way because you have, you said, in 30 years, you've had a great relationship with every supervisor you had. I'm just kind of thinking through this. Seems like you've been successful, you know, with people not staying with one corporation anymore for the rest of their lives. You have been with 3 different ones for a long time, each of them for a long time. And so it certainly seems as if they were happy with you and they appreciated your work and they knew that you knew what you were doing. And so, you know, I try to look at some of the questions we get here and read into those questions because there's always, seems like 5 sides to every story. And so I try to read carefully or listen carefully to the things that they say to try to get an understanding of where this person really is. Because I think a lot of times, and you guys, you who listen to the show, I wonder a lot of times if many of us are walking around feeling a way that we don't understand that we can get rid of, and we just, walk around not knowing what to do about it, and so we just kind of feel bad. But I try to read these letters or try to listen to the voice to try to get an idea of how accurate their communication is going to be. And I got to say, I'm giving you close to 100% just looking at the facts. And meaning I'm giving you 100%. I think everything you're saying is absolutely the truth. I think you got it pegged right. I think you have her pegged right. I think you have, the situation that your team is in pegged right. I'm criticizing the team members every time that she's in the store, and the criticisms don't end until she leaves the store, and you say she comes in, she seems to be angry and mean-spirited. Let me tell you something. I don't really believe that she seems to be angry and mean-spirited. I don't believe that. I think she is angry and mean-spirited. I think there's no seems to it. I see how you write. I listen to your voice. I don't think you are wrong. So, when you say, I feel like I'm always wrong. No, okay, you're not wrong about this. I mean, saying things like you're under a big microscope with corporate, you better watch it. The perception there is that you don't know what you're doing. Really? Corporate, which is like everybody in headquarters. So the headquarters building for this major chain, every junior vice president, senior vice president, every executive, every person on the board of directors, the COO, the CEO, the CFO, everybody, you're under a big microscope with all of them. The perception with the perception there, corporate, is that you don't know what you're doing. Really? That's what all of them think? They've just kind of let you go for 6 years, and that's what all of them think? They all think that? I mean, really, they all think that, and they haven't said anything? They haven't fired you? They all think that? And you're one pharmacist among, I don't know what, 500, 1,000 pharmacists, but they're looking at you. And their perception is that you don't know what you're doing. Hey, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something I really believe, Maggie. Not only is she angry and mean-spirited, I think that's an outright lie. I don't even think that's an exaggeration. I think she's lying. Now, why? I don't know. Some people are just angry and they are just mean. And they're aggravated that they're not where they thought they ought to be. And they're mad at the world, the people that get in their way every day. And they're mad, and they're going to come in there. And they're so mad that they let their mouth overtake their brain. And they just say things just because they're mad. I think that's what you got here. So the joy you used to carry into work has been replaced by fear. That is something I believe needs to change. I mean, you're saying when she demands answers, you give them to her, and then she tells you she doesn't believe what you said. I'm having a hard time trying to figure out what could a supervisor say to a pharmacist or ask, how many pills have gone out the drive-through window today? How many prescriptions have you filled? How many prescriptions has the team filled? What is your time schedule with the team? These are all questions I can imagine being asked, and anything that you would answer could be checked. So I'm not really sure how this person could say that she doesn't believe you. What is it that she's not believing you about? How do you feel today? I feel fine. I don't believe you. Well, you cannot believe me on something like that because there's no way to determine it. You can't check it. I just can't figure out what in the world this woman could even ask that couldn't be checked. So I kind of think she's mean. And I'll tell you, I don't believe corporate. I mean, no offense, but I would, just knowing how things are, no offense, but I would doubt the vast majority of the people in corporate even know who you are. So here's what I think you should do. Now, this is just advice, okay? You don't know me, really. I mean, and I don't know you. And so what I'm going to tell you is kind of a dramatic step. And so you have to figure out for yourself how you do this and if you do this. But I suspect that just knowing the pharmacist that I know and having now met you through this, I suspect that with your record, you could go anywhere and get a job. I just suspect you could go to any city you wanted to. I think you could go to any pharmacy in your town that you wanted to go to. And with your experience and your track record of staying with your leadership skills in 2 different places, I think you'd find a job in a heartbeat. And so if you want to just quit thinking about it, go get another job. Just go to work somewhere else. But if you want to, if you really want to stay there, I do not like it when somebody like this gets the first word in. We talked recently about being first. But the only thing that trumps being first is logical, reasoned evidence to the contrary. And so I wonder if you could make an appointment with whoever that higher up is at corporate, whoever that person is at corporate. And I think you could go in and sit down in that office with a smile on your face and say, hey, I'm just, I've always appreciated being here. And for 6 years, I have loved my job. I've just loved being here. I was 12 years in another place and a bunch of years in another place. And now I've been here for 6 years. And I always thought this was the place that I would work for the rest of my life. And so I really appreciate you. I got a kind of a challenge here right now, and I'm trying to figure out if I just need to step out. There are other places that I can work. I don't want to do that, but I understand from my supervisor that I am under a big microscope with corporate. And I have been warned that I had better watch it because the perception with corporate is that I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I've been, told this over and over, and my team has been told over and over how bad they are and how ineffective they are. And, that I have begun to wonder, is corporate actually, do they perceive I don't know what I'm doing? And, if that is the perception, I certainly need to step aside. I think that would be, if that's true, I think it would just be a perception, because I think that my track record has proven that I do know what I'm doing. The pharmaceutical thing and the customer service part of it is just my favorite part of it. I'm just kind of turned into where we just have to talk to people about copays and their insurance stuff, but I sure enjoy doing it with a smile on my face. And so I'm just saying, I'm just asking you, sir, if I'm under such a big microscope and the perception is that I don't know what I'm doing, then certainly you would be in the loop about that. And so if I am, and if I am causing that kind of trouble or that kind of doubt, then I need to leave. I mean, you don't need me here. I care about these people enough that if you're not happy with what I'm doing, I need to go somewhere else, because I love this company and I would never do anything to cast any doubt with the customers on this corporate name. I'm loyal to you guys. I appreciate you guys. But man, if I have become a problem child, or if I've become a deficit in your eyes, then I love you guys enough that I don't want to have that happen to you. So I need to leave. And I've also understood that I lie. I have a hard time figuring out what I am lying about, because I'm certainly telling the truth as I know it and answering questions that there are records of, and I have records of, and I'm answering questions in as clear and honest a way as I can, only to be gotten to the end of the conversation and have myself told that I am not believed. And so if that's the perception, I really need to know, and I would not cause you any trouble for any, life's too short. But life's too short to be working with people who yell at you and who hurt your team members. And so I don't think I need to do that anymore, but I just needed to clear a few things with you because I appreciate you. And then you stop talking, and he's either going to say, yeah, we do think you're a liar, and we're not happy with you, and you've been under a microscope, and you are fired. And you'll go, good, okay, I know what's happening, good, I'm fired, I get a new job this afternoon. And if that's what you guys think, but let me just tell you something, Maggie, that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is the guy or the lady or whoever, the big supervisor, the big honcho in the corporate sky, whoever that person is going to look at you and go, who in the world has told you that you're under a microscope and that our perception is that you don't know what you're doing? Where in the world have you been given that idea? Who in the world has told you that you are not believed? What? Who? What? And you'll say, well, I feel a little, I feel nervous saying anything about it. Really, I just needed to find out about me. But I feel a little nervous saying about it, because if I say something about it, I don't think it could get worse, but it might be ramped up a little bit. And, if it does, I'm just gonna have to leave. And so I feel nervous about telling that, because I don't need this person to exist around me having been disciplined because I came to corporate. I'm not coming to corporate about them. I'm not coming to you about my direct supervisor. I'm not coming to you about her. I was coming to you about me. I want to protect our relationship. I want to know if our relationship has been harmed But I didn't come to you here to complain about my direct supervisor. And that's all you had to say, because he or she will go, okay, all right, I got you. And you can expect immediate change. And if immediate change is not forthcoming, again, Maggie, you can get a job anywhere. So you think through this yourself. You know the moves to make. You know if you need to make them or when you should make them. But, yes, there is something you can do. And I just told you what I think it was. And so I want you to have fun with it and just know this is just another part of your life. And this is going to be something you're going to look back on, and you're not going to laugh, but you're going to use it as an example to somebody else who's going through the same thing. Maggie, you and I are gathering wisdom. Our conversations we think through them so that we can gather wisdom with our experiences and help other people along the way. So get after it. All things are going to be good. Thank you so much for the question, Maggie. And I think that'll do it for this week. Hey, get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing that tiny bit of mental energy I have for you. I'm seeking wisdom, making observations, endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, smile while you talk. Shake hands with the kids you meet. And make sure you have an answer to the question, why do we say that an actor is in a movie, but that he is on television? So, until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Air conditioning provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. And additional financial consideration provided by flatbedsalads.com. Hey, how important do you believe fresh foods to be for you and your family? With local franchises being created all over our nation, flatbedsalads.com is your answer now to what is for dinner besides pizza, tacos, or Chinese food delivered from a suspicious storefront in the nearest strip mall. Flatbed Salads was created way back in the 1900s by Bobby Gray Young of DeKalb, Mississippi. His idea was simple genius. I'm gonna dump some dirt on the back of a big flatbed trailer, he said. Then I'll just plant some cabbage, corn, several kinds of lettuce, and whatnot. Only 6 weeks from the moment of Bobby Gray's idea, he drove the big diesel slowly through neighborhoods. Yes, he did blow his air horn a few times, but when people came outside to see what the heck was going on, Bobby Gray fixed a ladder to the trailer and encouraged everyone to climb aboard and walk through his garden. They did, and the rest is history. This week, more than 6,000 franchisees will be rolling flatbed trailers slowly through neighborhoods all over America. So climb aboard, walk the garden, and pick whatever you'd like. All vegetables are sold by the pound, and they're weighed right after you pick them. To find the garden on wheels in your area, go to flatbedsalads.com. And tell them you were sent by the Professional Noticer. That's flatbedsalads.com.